You have every right to feel bitter. You've earned it. When someone betrays your trust, when a marriage dies while you're still in it, when you've been unseen, disrespected, discarded, or abused, it does something to you. It changes you. Bitterness isn't weakness. It's pain that never got a place to go. And if you're there right now, I'm not here to judge you. I've been there myself. I'm not even here to tell you to let it go, rise above, get over it, or move on. That's not how this works. You don't just snap out of it. It's a process, a messy, uneven one. In fact, you've earned your bitterness and you have every right to hold on to it. Nobody is going to take it from you. I don't know you, and I don't claim to know what's best for you. So I'm certainly not here to tell you what to do. And if you're good with how things are, if that anger still feels useful and you're not looking to change, that is absolutely fine. But I want you to know this probably isn't the video for you. Honestly, it might just frustrate you. This video and this channel aren't for everyone. But if even a small part of you is starting to wonder whether you want something different, keep watching. What I do want to bring to the surface is this. Some people get stuck in that place, and they stay stuck for years. We start to organize our entire identity around what was done to us. After betrayal or a relationship or a toxic marriage that hollowed you out, bitterness can feel like clarity. You finally see it. The manipulation, the power imbalance, the lies, and that anger, it's part of your healing. It helps you stop tolerating the intolerable. It gets you out. Maybe for the first time in years, you're finally saying no to things that drain you. You're setting boundaries. You're not bending over backwards to keep peace at any cost. That bitterness is doing something important. It's protecting you from going back to a bad situation. It's teaching you to value yourself. Sometimes it's the armor that finally gets you out. But what starts as a survival response can turn into a permanent home if you're not careful. It's like if a store had one really bad shoplifter, and in response they said, at any cost, we're never going to allow that to happen again. So they lock up every item, add metal detectors, background checks to anyone who comes into the store, and start treating every customer like a potential thief. Sure, they will dramatically reduce the risk of another theft, but they'll also drive away all their good customers. That kind of overcorrection might feel safer, but it slowly kills the business. That's what bitterness can do. It starts as protection, but if you let it run the whole show, it ends up costing you more than it saves. Because bitterness, if you feed it long enough, starts to feel like strength, like self-respect, like wisdom. It whispers, at least you're not naive anymore. At least you see people for who they really are. But here's what it doesn't tell you. It's not the end of the healing path. It's the middle. And too many men mistake the middle for the final destination. Years ago, I came across a concept from a psychologist, Carolyn Mace, that she calls Woundology. She described it in a book she wrote about why people don't heal and how they can. It's what happens when we start to bond with other people through our wounds instead of through who we're becoming. And it's not about the thing we went through, but about the story we tell ourselves about it. And we tell our stories to others over and over. At first, maybe we're trying to heal. But eventually we do this not to move through our stories, but to anchor ourselves in them. The betrayal, the divorce, the way she treated you, how your business partner screwed you over, how your kids were turned against you. And it doesn't just happen in relationships. It happens when your boss uses you, when your own family disappears during your hardest season, or when your old childhood wounds haven't stopped bleeding. And we find others who get it, who've been there too, and it feels good to be understood. You join the Facebook groups, you find the forums, you swap war stories with other divorce guys at the bar, and there's real value in that connection, in knowing you're not alone, in having your experience validated. But slowly, those wounds stop being just something that happened to us. They become who we are. They become our identity, our calling card. We become the guy who got taken to the cleaners in the divorce, the man whose wife cheated, the father who lost his kids. And anything that threatens to heal us can feel like a betrayal of our own pain. Because if you're not the wounded one anymore, then who are you? If you stop being angry, does that mean what happened to you didn't matter? And if you're getting value from this so far, please like this video so the message can spread to more people who could benefit from it. It helps the channel grow as well. Thank you. I appreciate it. So before we talk about how bitterness traps you, let's address the elephant in the room. You might be thinking, okay, if I let go of this anger, if I stop being bitter, doesn't that make me weak? Doesn't that make me a pushover again? Those are great questions, and I get it. For a lot of men, that bitterness feels like the only thing standing between them and being walked all over again. Sometimes it feels like the only thing keeping you safe. But here's the thing. There's a difference between being bitter and being strong. There's a difference between having boundaries and having walls. Strength means you can trust yourself to handle whatever comes. Bitterness means you've decided nothing good can come. Boundaries mean you protect your energy while staying open to connection. Walls mean you've completely shut down. And I know some men might hear this and think I'm trying to minimize what happened to them or trying to flip it back on them. That's not what this is. I'm not here to take sides. I'm here to make sure you don't get stuck in a place that stops serving you. The thing is, most people who get stuck here don't even realize that that's what's happened to them. Bitterness says, I'll never get fooled again. But underneath that is often, I'll never trust again, or love again, or try again. Here's what it looks like when bitterness becomes a trap. We find ourselves automatically assuming the worst about every woman we meet, for example. She's friendly? She wants something. She's distant? She's playing games. There's no scenario where she's just a person. We catch ourselves bringing up our ex-wife in conversations where it doesn't even belong. Someone mentions marriage and we're off to the races, having to insert our cautionary tale. We start seeing manipulation everywhere, in coworkers, friends, even our own kids. Everyone has an agenda and we're the only one smart enough to see it. We become the guy who can't enjoy anything without finding out what's wrong with it. Our buddy's happy in his new relationship? Just wait. Our neighbor got a promotion? Must be office politics. And when we live there too long, we stop growing. We stop being able to see the part we played as well, not to blame ourselves, but to reclaim our power. We stop imagining what life could be like after the bitterness. We keep letting those who have hurt us live rent-free in our heads. It becomes safer to stay angry than to risk hope, because hope means vulnerability. And when you've been hurt, vulnerability feels dangerous. But the cost of staying bitter, it's high. We start to lose the ability to feel joy. We stop seeing what's good in the world. We start pushing away connection because we've decided no one is worth trusting. Our kids stop calling as much because every conversation turns into a lecture about how the world works. Our friends stop inviting us out because we become the guy who brings down the room. We build a wall to protect ourselves, and over time, that wall becomes our prison. So how do you know if your bitterness has moved from healing to harmful? Well, to become more self-aware, ask yourself when you tell your story, why are you telling it? Are you telling it to process and move forward, or to get validated again and stay anchored in the pain? Do you find yourself giving the same warnings to every man you meet? Don't trust women. Marriage is a trap. They're all the same. Are you secretly a little annoyed when you see other people happy? Does their joy feel like evidence that they just haven't learned life's hard lessons yet? And when someone suggests you might be ready to try again, whether that's dating, trusting, or just being a little more optimistic, does it feel like they don't have a clue what you've been through? Do you find yourself obsessively researching your pain, constantly reading articles and watching videos about things like narcissism and toxic relationships, consuming content not to learn and grow anymore, but just to confirm what you already believe about how terrible people are? These aren't character flaws. They're signs that your nervous system is still in protection mode. That part of you that got hurt is still running the show. And let me be clear, this doesn't mean you have to trust blindly again, or ever forgive anyone, or pretend the pain didn't happen. You're never going to forget what you've been through, and you're not naive anymore. You're probably much less likely to get hurt the same way again. What it does mean is asking yourself some honest questions. How is this bitterness serving me right now? What is it protecting me from? What would healing even look like for me? Not the Instagram version where everything's perfect, but the real slow kind where you can feel something other than anger. Are you ready, even just a little, to start letting go of the identity that's built around being the one who was hurt? Here's what the practical first steps actually look like. Start by noticing when you feel the urge to tell your story. Are you telling it because someone could benefit from hearing it, or because you need to tell it? There's a difference. Practice holding two truths at once. What happened to me was real and painful, and not everyone is going to hurt me the same way. Begin to separate the lessons from the bitterness. You learned to spot red flags? Great. You learned your worth? Excellent. You learned to set boundaries? Keep that. But you don't need to carry the rage forever to remember the lesson. Look for evidence that contradicts your story about how people are. Not to become naive again, but to become more balanced. Start small. Maybe it's giving a stranger the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's not immediately assuming your coworkers' motives are selfish. Maybe it's listening to your friend's relationship success without mentally preparing your warnings. And here's the big one. Begin to ask yourself who you want to become, not just who you're trying to avoid being hurt by. Because healing doesn't mean the wound never happened. It means the wound stops defining you. And you're right to feel bitter, but that doesn't mean you have to stay there. There's life after bitterness. There's clarity without rage. There's strength without armor. There's wisdom that doesn't require you to stay wounded. The goal isn't to go back to who you were before you got hurt. That person didn't have the knowledge you have now and probably doesn't exist anymore. The goal is to become who you're meant to be. Someone who's been through hell and came out stronger, but not harder. Someone who's learned to protect themselves without shutting down completely. And if you're ready, even just in the smallest way, to take that next step forward, then keep going. You're not alone in this. Let me know in the comments where you're at in that journey. And if this spoke to you, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.